Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where last episode we deposited this mining module on Duna and we drove it over to this location and we want to dock it up with this guy. Now, the unfortunate thing here is that this docking port is utilized. So we have to target this docking port, which we're currently on the wrong side of. That said, we could back into it. We have a docking port on both sides of our vehicle here. Now, we were on our way up this hill, and we were doing fine with that. Fine-ish. But, unfortunately, last episode, we ran out of power, and we had to stop here. So now the question is, I've recharged the batteries. We just sat here with the brakes on and time warped until the batteries were recharged. The question is, can we get moving again? And we're about to find out. That's inauspicious. I'm going to turn us a little bit over this way. I'm hoping to tackle this hill at a less steep angle. But this is very inauspicious. We're starting to slow down now. If we can go straight in this direction, that would be phenomenal. Wait. We're moving forward. Very, very, very slowly. And this is at an incredibly high cost in battery power. So that's understood. Things will get a lot better once we're able to actually dock up to this guy. And I think we're going to be in a good position to do that. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to control from one of these eventually, and that's probably going to completely mess up our current setup. But we're definitely able to head over this direction. That's good. That's very, very good. I was very concerned there for a moment. Now, I want to turn a bit steeper up the hill, but really what we're going to want to do is we're just going to want to go straight here until we're basically in line with this. That's the goal, anyway. So yeah, we're just moving straight for now, and then I want to overshoot it maybe a little bit. The real question is going to be, what are the controls going to be like when we control from here? So, we're going to bring it up over this direction. And I'm letting the momentum drop for the moment. Okay, so we've overshot this a little bit. I'm turning the brakes on. And now what we want to do is we want to turn in that direction, but we want to go backwards. This is not quite the angling that I had hoped for. We're going to need to head up over this way a little bit. Ooh, that was spicy. That was spicy right there. But this angling is not terrible at this point. I want to move a little further uphill this way. And now I want to start cutting in. Uh-oh. Okay. That was not great. So the problem here is that we cannot accelerate up this hill right now. Okay, so I've turned the brakes on. We need to get just a little bit closer in here. Now, this vehicle right here, I don't believe we can turn off the brakes on. Yeah, we have no control over this guy. No probe control here whatsoever. So we're in a good position, but I want to set this as our target. Can't even do that. Okay. So I'm going to try control from here. And if I look at this, it's kind of inverted. Okay. Noted. So I'm just trying to even out our angling here a little bit. Seeing if that would help matters. It kind of didn't, although losing weight would help matters. But yeah, that's not super helpful at this point. So what we need to do is we need to... I'm surprised that this angle is problematic for us. We're not, like, trying to go up here, but I think... I guess it's because of this hill. Unfortunate. So, what else can we do here? Well, actually, hang on. This is now working. Okay, it stopped working once we got to this point, but only when we're trying to turn. I'm going to feather the turn a little bit here. Okay. So we're just trying to bring this in a little bit. You can see we're pretty far off axis right now. So we might have to correct our angling. But I'm hoping that we see docking forces apply. I'm not currently seeing docking forces applying. So we're going to correct our angling here, if we can. We're really struggling to turn here. Okay, I'm going to turn on the brakes here quick. I'm going to turn off the steering in these two back wheels. We're going to have the steering only in the front wheels right now. And you can see we're currently drifting the wrong direction as we try to drift downhill. So let's turn our brakes off. I'm trying to turn us just a smidge. Okay. Once again, we're going to have to feather it. I think we need to turn down our turn radius on this or something. Because that's spicy, for sure. Okay. Oh, that was docking forces right there. I'm pretty sure. Hang on. I'm like 45% sure that that was docking forces. I'm not doing anything right now. That's 1,000% docking forces. Okay, that's a really good sign. So right now what I'm trying to do is just bring these together a little bit more. We're just slightly off on the angling. So we need to get that angle a little bit better here. Okay. We're pretty good on the angle this time. Hang on. Docking... I don't think that was docking forces there. We're definitely a little off still on our overall angling. And it seems that docking forces on the ground like this are probably not enough to overcome the friction on the wheels. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to see... We can't actually do anything there. Okay. Noted. So what we need to do is we need to... And all of the controls are currently 100% reversed, so I have to remember that. But what we need to do is we need to just make our way out and away a little bit. We need to straighten up this alignment ever so slightly. Okay. So now we're coming back with the opposite turning. And hoping that this is close enough. We were like repelled away there. That was interesting. Oh, we're out of electric charge. That's what's going on here. So we need to turn our brakes on. And we need to let our electric charge build back up. So that's absolutely fine. We can do just that. Okay, so our electric charge is now full. And let's bring this in again. So we can see we're still a little off on the overall angling. And what direction is what here? Okay, noted. So we need to just try to bring ourselves ever so slightly in, but it helps if I turn off the brakes. Okay, so we need to do this right now. We've drifted a little bit off, and we need to bring this a little more uphill. This hill is really, really awkward for us. There's no doubt about that. Okay. We're straighter, but this is not straight. So, as we can see, we're definitely a bit off here. Are we a bit off in height? We are a bit off in height. And there's not really much that we can do about that, I feel like. Unless we can actually just dock this up. Unless we get lucky there. We're not at a terrible angle, but we could definitely work on that angle a little bit. I would like to get this actually docked. The real problem here is that we don't have any control over this, right? So if we hop over to here, we can't set this as a control point. Can we actually extend these? Hang on. No, we can't change that. That would be very strange if we could. So the issue here is, as we can see, that our weight is a little bit too high on this end. I don't think that we can extend out our hydraulics anymore here. But what we can potentially do is this. And that did the trick. Okay, we are now docked. Hilarious. That was incredible. So now that we're docked, we can see that we have some awkwardness in our wheel controls. That's for sure. Our brakes are on, but now what we can do is we can take this all over this way. Now we still have this debris here. This is lacking wheels. So I'm just going to retract that. That's a bit of an issue, but we can put wheels on it later. That's fine. So we've now managed to grab this. And we want to head over to the core module, which is up over this way, about 1 kilometer away. I believe that the wheels should all be going in the same direction. Oh yeah, we're overpowering the brakes. So that's definitely the case there. So that seems good. The turning is absolutely going to be an issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the steering on all of the wheels that are back here. So we're just going to turn off every single one of these. Our only wheels that are going to be turning is these front 2 right now. Now that might not be enough to actually turn this thing, but we'll see. So we're just turning all of these guys off. Excellent. There we go. And now I want to control from here. So hopefully this is no longer inverted. Or actually, I want to control from up here. Much better. Okay. So now I'm going to turn off the brakes, and we'll see how this ends up going. It's going to be potentially spicy to get this thing moving. So we need to turn down this way, and all of these wheels may require some work on the traction control and cranking up the brakes as well. So we're currently going downhill. I'm just starting a very, very gentle turn here. And in the meantime, we're cranking up the brakes because we know that that was a bit of an issue previously. So that's fine. Brakes are on their way up. And we can build up some speed here. What's our electric charge? Yeah, that's not necessarily great. We drain our electric charge very quickly, but we have some extra battery here, which we will have to jettison when we get to our destination, to be clear. So that's fine. We'll have to jettison this, but we'll use it for now. So I also want to come in here and I want to crank down the traction control on all these wheels. I'm going to do this one side at a time to keep it relatively balanced. There we go. And it looks like this wheel is actually still steering. Let's disable that. So traction control over here and traction control over here. There we go. And then we've already done these. Traction control here goes down and here. And here and here. Okay. So we need to head this direction. We're slowly working on this turn. I'm going to try enabling the steering here and also here. That should give us substantially more steering capacity. Oh yeah, that's much better. Now the question is, can we power up this hill? That's going to be real interesting to find out. We'll see. Our speed is currently dropping, and I am telling it to go forward at this moment. So that's very exciting. Okay. So I dropped to the forward direction, and we're building up dropped the turn, and we're building up quite a lot of speed. So it looks like this is actually fine. We just need to be a bit careful with the turn. I'm okay with that. Okay, so I'm not currently... I'm going to turn the Smart ASS off for right now. I'm not currently utilizing any power here. We are increasing in speed at this moment. So that is understood. We just need to haul this thing right on over to the core module. And once we get there, we do need this docking port to be available, because we have to dock with that docking port. There's no other docking port that we can successfully dock to and still have control over this module. So that's understood. As of right now, we are just regenerating some electricity. I'm just going to alter our trajectory here a teeny tiny bit. There we go. So we're regenerating electric charge and cruising on over for now. I do expect to see our surface velocity start to drop pretty soon here. Yeah, there it goes. So it's dropping now. I want to keep it at maybe around 5 meters per second. So we're going to have to start putting some additional power into this. Okay, we are able to overpower gravity at this point. Excellent. So we'll just have to put a little power here and there in. But now we're starting to go into a higher, like a steeper portion of hill, right? And I'm just trying to power as much as we can right now. Speed is actually increasing a little bit. I'm changing our trajectory slightly. Gotta be careful with that, though. Our speed is dropping precipitously. So, we're gonna need to turn a bit and approach this hill from a shallower angle. Okay, we've come to a full halt. So we're not able to climb this hill as of right now. Okay. Now we're able to climb it a little bit. Cool. So we're going to have to approach it from this angle here. That's fine. And up we go. This is burning a lot of electric charge, so we're probably going to have to stop and recharge our electricity at some point. We don't have all that much solar panel. We're no longer pushing through. Okay, that is noted. We'll try to shallow this out a bit more. How about this direction? We're decelerating and flipping directionality now. Or not. Or not. There we go. Now we're accelerating. So this is going to be painful. Okay. So we're just holding here, and I turned on the brakes. So now the question is, what's the plan? Well, we need to regenerate some power. So let's let that power regenerate a bit. If we can crest this hill, we should be good to go. This hill should be the problem at this point. So let's bring this out of time warp. And let's think about how this hill is aligned. Yeah, this hill is the problem. Once we're up here, we will not have an issue with it. So we just got to get up over here or so. I'm thinking about the way that this hill is set up. If we headed like this and then up and around, maybe that would be a viable way to go. So let's see here. We need to turn like this. And hopefully make our way right on around. We're going forward at this time. So we need to go up here, and like once we get here, we need to start turning up this direction and hope that we can make it up the hill. We just have to switch back our way up this at this point. So this is clearly a bit of an issue. We've got a lot of mass here, and that's understood. Okay, so we're heading off this direction at about 1 meter per second right now, and that's looking fine. And then we just need to hopefully turn up over this way. We're making our way uphill here, but the main problem is we're decelerating right now. So we have to go a little bit more this way, but we have a hill that starts to go up over here as well. We're in a bit of a low point here, and that's just... we were kind of unfortunate with where this ended up. It's okay. We will make our way out of here. We see we're still getting closer to our target destination. We're slowing down again, though, so that means that we have to turn a bit more downhill. We want to build up a fair amount of speed so that we can power through this, but we're not really in a position to do that. So onward we go here. And we'll eventually have to recharge our power again, but that's not a big deal. We can almost see the very top of our core module right over there. See that? It's almost in line of sight. Not quite, though. So, I'm hoping that we're able to head this direction, but it's looking inauspicious. Because we just had to turn further down the hill there. I'd love it if we could head this way. But maybe this way is the way that we should try to go. So let's try to turn up over there. We don't want to turn too sharply, of course. And we may have to do part of this turn in reverse, which is fine. Okay, so we are going to be coming to a halt here eventually, but we're actually just kind of holding at 0.3. This is interesting. It's not much of a turn, that's for sure. But if we're going 0.3 while turning, that means we can build up potentially a decent amount of speed when we're not turning. Yeah, look at that. That's excellent. So I'd like to build up a decent chunk of speed and then try to turn over this direction and see if we can crest this hill. We got to be careful with these turns, though, because our center of mass is relatively high. This should stabilize us a decent amount. Can we go straight? We can go straight for a little bit. Okay, we'll build up some speed again, and then we'll try to turn. This is definitely not how this was intended to go, but it's good enough. I think we're going to make it. So we're at 2.2 right now. 2.3. And let's start a bit of a turn here. I wish I could change the turn sharpness on these wheels. But feathering it works. So we're just going to continue to feather this a little bit. And we're now heading directly at the core module, which we can see. And we're accelerating. This is a huge deal right now. I think we got it. We can see the module, and we're accelerating. We're going to start going downhill fairly soon. So we need to be thinking about how long is it going to take us to brake? Right? That's a concern, for sure. That's a major concern. But it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we are going to get this guy docked up to its desired position. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, Rornaz, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.